gentlemen, guys, welcome back. Pure Evil MMA. Host, as always, Evil Eddie, joining you here on this Monday night. You might be wondering why I'm joining you here on a Tuesday. No, not even a Tuesday. I don't even got you going up on a Tuesday. I got you going up on a Monday. Alright, so let me tell you why. Ian Heinisch. He is the reason why we are doing a Monday, because I feel like I've been cursed with food poisoning. I don't think there's any other way around it. On the last live stream, I announced to everybody that I've never had food poisoning. I think I just got it this weekend. I don't know what I ate. Something along the way after that interview got me feeling real sick. I was out yesterday from 12 o'clock in the afternoon to 4 o'clock this morning. That is fucking like 18 hours I was asleep for. Absolutely crazy. There's so much that went down this weekend. I was so anxious to go live last night because we've been going live every Sunday night. Let's face it, we've been going live every Sunday night. I've been trying to live up to it. But last night, I just wasn't feeling it. And like my promise to you, everyone out there, is I'm going to give you my 100. Which is like why I can relate to some of these fighters. Like, they book a fight. They have like a shitty weight cut or whatever. Or something happens. And they just can't get themselves right on the night of their fight. And then something goes wrong. I can relate there. Because last night, if I had to perform doing the podcast, it would have been a shit show. It would have been a freak show. Let's face it. It would have been a freak show. For me to be able to be entertaining, I have to feel confident about doing the show. Imagine going into a fight and not feeling up to yourself, like not feeling like you can be 100%. I can't even imagine doing that. Which is why, like, when people were like after the fight being like, I just wasn't feeling that night, this happened. I don't wreck them. I don't wreck them at all. Some people were saying old age is catching up to me, which is kind of funny because this weekend, all three, get out. You, out. We ain't having barking dogs during this live stream. You, get over here. None of this. Whoever barks next is catching these hands. I swear to God. Oscar, you see me? You bark, you're catching these hands. Phoenix. Catching these hands, girl. Alright, so let's move forward here. Alright, so this weekend, Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz. There's been a lot that's been going on this weekend between UFC Beijing going on at like 3:30 in the morning. The main card ain't starting until 6:30 a.m. There's a lot of people that just kind of fell off this weekend. Me being one of millions. Me being one of 100,000s. Like, it just wasn't our weekend, guys. Like, I don't know. It was like a weekend out of the Twilight Zone. I felt like we lived in a different dimension this weekend. UFC over in Beijing. Francis Ngannou beating Curtis Blades. Chuck Liddell going up against Francis Ngannou? Wait, what? That's not what happened this weekend, is it? No, Chuck Liddell going up against Tito Ortiz for the third time. I got called out saying that was a rubber match. It's not a rubber match because Chuck Liddell beat him twice. Well, Tito Ortiz getting the one win in. And let me say this, like a lot of people on Twitter, and follow me on Twitter at evil_echo, that's EVIL_ECCO. A lot of people on Twitter calling me out saying, Eddie, you're an asshole. Because I sent out the tweet saying some people just shouldn't do post-fight interviews. Now, I was not saying, let me say this, I was not saying anything against what Chuck Liddell or Tito Ortiz were saying in this fight. I was calling out Tito Ortiz in his past jobs. Not even fighting. Just interviewing fighters inside the ring. I tweeted it out. A lot of people were like, Eddie, bro, no. What are you doing? Why are you saying that? Because I did go back and I did watch Tito Ortiz's post-fight speech, and it was heart-wrenching. How he forgives his father. How he's forgiving this one and that one and the other one and this one. And life is perfect. That is not what I was calling out. I was calling out Tito Ortiz. I don't know why, like, where this originated But somebody brought it up, and I had to throw it out there. That in the past, like, first off, let's say this. It was nice to see Chuck Liddell, and I do mean Chuck Liddell. It was nice to see Chuck Liddell go out there. Why am I frozen? All right, I'm not frozen. All right, it was nice to see Chuck Liddell go out there with a big smile on his face. I don't know if the octagon jitters got to him, even though it wasn't the octagon, but like something was going on there where he just felt. It was nice to see him smile, at least. But honestly, he went in there flat-footed. He didn't look like he was even throwing a jab. And we even had the Pure Evil Army check in and be like, look, watching that, we realized how much the sport has evolved. Look at the past 3 years in a nutshell. And you can just see off that. And you can take old age for what it is. But you can just go back and look at Chuck Liddell's old fights, Tito Ortiz's old fights. And you can tell how much the sport has evolved. Now, Tito Ortiz, you could say, like, yeah, he has been active. He's been a lot more active than Chuck Liddell has been. Let's face it. But at the end of the day, if you just look at both of their performances, it's more than obvious that our sport has evolved 3 steps forward in the past 5-10 years. That was really hard to watch. I gave my pure reaction on it. Like I said, it was nice to see Chuck Liddell walk out there with a smile, but it's just not for him anymore. And people can go out there and say that, like, oh, these older fighters can fight, but we can change the rules for them. What rules are you going to change? Chuck Liddell didn't even make it out of the first round. What rules could you possibly change? Thicker gloves? That ain't going to help. Longer in between rounds, that's not going to help. Nothing's going to help. Old age catches up to you at one point in life. And there's nothing you can do about it. At some point, would you want to see Derek Jeter in 10 years, 5 years? Nomar Garcia-Pera, 5 years? David Ortiz in 5 years? You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes the sport catches up to you. There's something, you need to figure something else out. Which is why I talk to a lot of these guys about a plan B. And sometimes plan B is not for a lot of guys. You have to be a headlining fighter to get the extra job. Like we've seen with Frank Mir. Rashad Evans, who I have to say got very mixed reviews on his commentating skills for this upcoming fight. Or this past fight that we saw with Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. The tension is so tight, you can cut it with a knife. What is that, Rashad? At least feel like you want to be there. Frank Mir was sitting there like, this is something out of a dream state. And I do relate to that. Like, it felt like something like, why am I watching this? Like, I shouldn't be watching this. This isn't right. Like, something about him felt like it wasn't right as well. The third fight, Chuck Liddell, what was it, 13 years since his last fight? There was a reason why we asked Chuck to stop. Now, a lot of people go out there and say, oh, he needed the money, he needed this, he needed that. That is the saddest thing I've ever heard. And it is why we all push for our sport to move forward. To see people like Chuck Liddell, I messaged Chuck after the fight. I said, Chuck, even though you got the loss, it means nothing. Because you are still the face of mixed martial arts. When I was younger, and mixed martial arts wasn't my diehard thing, my father's friends, we would all watch the pay-per-views together at the bar. Like when it was a big night. Chuck Liddell going in there. That is what people got pumped up about. Especially the bikers. That's what I can relate with. The bikers going out there, they related to Chuck Liddell, the Mohawk. It was a big trend. It's past us at this point. It's hard. I know it's hard to see. Because just seeing Chuck go out there, being so flat-footed, being able to even throw a punch. See, all right, James and I both reviewed on Gloves Off episode 8 and also episode number 3, which got removed by Mike Swick because Mike Swick was trying to sue us. So we took the episode down. But on episode 8, we recapped what we were expecting to see with Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz 3. And James called it out. James was like, listen, guys. If you look at Chuck Liddell's practice sparring or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what to call it. On his Instagram or YouTube or wherever you were seeing it, it was hard to watch. And James called it. He was like, is it a ploy? Is it him just trying to be like, oh, let me fool these guys. This isn't what I'm really going to look like. Let me switch it up southpaw. Chuck Liddell even admitted it on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani that he was doing it in southpaw and that he was trying to throw people off. Until we watched the fight. And then what happened when we watched the fight? Chuck Liddell was throwing punches like he's never thrown a punch before. It was so hard to watch, guys. I don't know what was going on. Anyone that I know around here that is actually fired up, like say for instance, my brother-in-law found out that my brother was cheating on him. He would have looked more excited to fight than Chuck Liddell did. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I'm glad that Chuck Liddell looked happy, but he did not look like he wanted to fight. And that's an issue. That was an issue why GSP wasn't going to be called back in the UFC, because Dana was going, you don't look like you actually want to fight. Look like you want to fight, and then we'll bring you back. GSP even got on his knees, this and that. GSP didn't look half bad, even though Bisping, you guys discredit Bisping. But Bisping didn't look that bad in that fight. A lot better than Chuck Liddell did, at least. Man, I do not ever want to see Chuck Liddell go back in there ever again. Tito Ortiz coming off neck surgery, back surgery. Like, the sport has outgrown both these guys. I'm so sorry to say, I love both these guys. Listen, I love both these guys. It's not there anymore. It's not there, not even for Bellator. Scott Coker was even like, nah, bro, we don't want to see you or you fight again. Like, guys, just take it. Just take it. You can do so much more other than fighting that will be impressive. It's just sad, man. It's just sad. It's outgrown both these guys. And that's what we had to deal with this weekend. It was just a weird weekend between that and UFC Beijing. What was going on? It's unsettling. It was a weird weekend. It was like a weekend in the Twilight Zone for any MMA fan out there. But we have to move forward, and we are moving forward, because there is an upcoming fight going on this weekend, and there's a couple of great fights going on. I'm going to pull you guys into my screen really quick. Let's see what we got here. So YouTube is actually down, so I don't know what we launched this live stream as. Might have been up under our last live stream. But let's go to Tapology really quick. Tapology.com. Shout out to those guys. Tapology. And as we go into Tapology.com, it comes up as the Ultimate Fighter Season 20 finale. And I am going to admit to everybody out there that I did not watch more than one episode of this season. As a matter of fact, the first time I watched... So listen, I've watched every episode of every season up until season 28. What does that say? And they're going to be continuing the 29th season on ESPN. But I have to say this, guys. This was actually a really exciting episode. The one that I tuned into, it's somebody that I've seen on my show. It's somebody that follows me on Twitter. And it's cool. I always say it's really cool to see guys make it into the UFC. Henley, get down. Bro. Get away from my Chinese. No. My dog's trying to get into my Chinese food. Listen. When you go on Ultimate Fighter, there's two things that are pulling you this way and then pulling you that way. One being your future and destiny, and one being your entertaining future in Destiny. It's very rare that we can see those two combine, where you can act like an asshole and drink and be the entertainer of the season Ultimate Fighter and actually go all the way to the end. After all these long nights of partying, drinking, starting issues. We saw it in the first season, but it's so hard to relive. Maurice, bro, I was rooting for you, but you fell through. And this season of Ultimate Fighter needed somebody to stand out. But they also need somebody to stand out and win in a different way. Ultimate Fighter Season 20, it hasn't been announced yet. But our main event is RDA versus Kamaru Usman. Justin Frazier versus Juan Espino. Pedro Munoz versus Brian Caraway. Edmund Shabazarian versus Darren Stewart. Antonina Shevchenko versus Jiyeon Kim. Now listen. Ooh, this is a good card. Rick Glenn versus Kevin Aguilar. Joseph Benavidez finding his way all the way down here. Wow. Versus Alex Perez. Roosevelt Roberts versus Daryl Horcher, who is the guy who gave Khabib Nurmagomedov a run for his money. Tim Means versus Ricky Rainey. And Rayoni Barstelos versus Chris Gutierrez. This is actually a pretty decent card. Shallow card, I must say. A little out of order. Very out of order. And if you guys have been listening to the last couple episodes of Pure Evil MMA, if you've ever listened to Pure Evil MMA, I've always been somebody to push forward with, why the fuck don't we see the top talent at the top of these cards? When you go to an event, when you tune into anything, if you go to see a comedy act, you want the comedy acts to get better and better and better and better. You don't want to see the top guys at the bottom, then someone thrown in the middle, and then another guy in the middle, and then another top guy here, another middle guy here, and then another top guy here. You don't want to see that. You want to see it gradually rise and it get better and better and better and better. What the fuck is the UFC doing? I understand they're trying to promote their fight pass. What is your excuse here? Why do we have Rick Glenn down at the bottom versus Kevin Aguilar? Why do we have Joseph Benavidez? Why isn't Antonina Shevchenko, if not the co-main event, the one below it? What is going on here? I don't understand this. Tim Mean. Like, come on, guys. Alright, originally it was canceled, but Antonina Shevchenko was supposed to fight Ashley Evans Smith, but Ashley Evans Smith got injured. That would have been an amazing fight. Oh, man. Gilbert Melendez versus Arnold Allen was also supposed to be on this card. Arnold Allen versus Rick Glenn. Jesus. We've talked to Rick Glenn. We've given away Rick Glenn's merchandise here on the podcast. And man, wasn't Suman Makatran supposed to be on this card as well? No, that might be the card after it. So, the card after this, Mark Hunt's last card. I'm trying to get Suman Makatran on before his fight going on in just like a week or so. Let me see what I got going on. All these hoes on Facebook, man. All these great. Breaking news. As of this morning, our boy here on the East Coast, Mikey Kimball, which you might remember from Bellator, getting 2 straight first round finishes in a row. John Bones Jones, striking coach, has just hit him up. Now I'm trying to go out to Mikey Kimball's playground, his town here on the East Coast in Connecticut. We're going to be trying to do an interview with him. So we got that to look forward to. But just like, honestly, I would like to see Mikey Kimball in the UFC, not Bellator. Like, how much of a career can you really make at Bellator? Which is why I ask a lot of these guys out there, like, in 2018, going into 2019, if Bellator reached out to you and was like, listen, we want you as our main card fighter, would you take that contract? Because Mikey Kimball in his last fight, all right, let's rewind. Not even his last fight, the fight before it, he got switched up on top because somebody got injured. He got to his main card slot. He finished his opponent in the first minute of the first round. They book him again on the prelims. Big mistake. I called it out backstage. Huge mistake by Bellator. Mike Kimball finishes his opponent in the first round. The crowd was electric. We went backstage. I called him out. I said, that's up to Bellator. That's up to Bellator to make that card. I think the UFC could do so much more with somebody like Mikey Kimball. I would love to see Mikey Kimball in the UFC, but that is not what we got right now. We got Mikey Kimball and Bellator. And if they do not decide to put him on the main card, they are out of their goddamn minds. And I think that Bellator has been doing a great job moving forward in 2016, 17, and especially 2018. 2018 being their best year, putting their first step forward, their best step forward. But Mikey Kimball, if he goes to train with John Bone Jones striking coach, it's only a matter of time before the UFC gives him that call. And we've seen him with guys in the past, like with Yair Rodriguez. He was doing a Hail Mary. Like a lot of people were being like, oh man, he was training that. But bro, he was throwing up a Hail Mary in the last second of the fight and pulled it off somehow. It was amazing. Yes, it was amazing. But there are a lot of guys in the UFC that I would love to see fight Mikey Kimball. That you can say are new era. Like Yair Rodriguez, Mikey Kimball? Come on. That's not a banger right there. That couldn't headline the first ESPN free fight card? I think so. I think that would be a great fight. Whoa, wait. Isn't it the same weight class? Is it not the same weight class? That's featherweight? Was Mikey Kimball featherweight? I believe Mikey Kimball's featherweight. Featherweight. Right? Let's look it up. Mikey Kimball. Let's look it up. Kimbo Slice. Mike the Savage Kimball. He was only 2-0. 2 wins on Bellator. So, like, I guess it's a good spot to start your career. But I would never want to stay with this promotion. And I'm sorry. I had to say it, but it's true. UFC is where it's at. Where is his weight? 130. Okay, so he is a fucking bantamweight. Look at this kid. Mikey Kimball. 2-0 out of the Connecticut Kill Squad. Honestly, guys, I will say this about Bellator. As a young up-and-comer, a lot of the time, Bellator will only give you a one-fight contract. With Mikey Kimball on their last fight, not putting him on the main card, was really a kick to the stomach, and then see him on Arrow Show. This is something I say to a lot of fighters out there, though. UFC, Bellator, wherever. You have an amazing performance against somebody, you get all this steam, all this momentum, you go on Arrow Show. We've seen it in the past. Look at Mark DeCasey. He had an amazing fight. Spin kick. Fight after that, an amazing fight. And then he gets the spotlight, and then crumbles. Lando Venata, another guy, goes in there, amazing finish, feels the pressure, crumbles. We've seen this with a lot of guys. Mike Perry, another one. Speaking of Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall. Pull you guys back in real quick. All right, so Mikey Kimball. I'm looking forward to see what's going on next. Going on with John Jones. But honestly, Mickey Gall versus Mike Perry. That is a fight on Mike Perry's level. Finally, we got a fight on Mike Perry's level. They keep matching up with a guy with Alan Joban. They match him up with people like Cowboy Cerrone. They match him up with that guy, that guy, and the other guy. Doesn't make sense. We're moving backwards here with Mike Perry. He should have been building level by level by level. You don't start a video game out, go 5 levels deep, and then jump to the fucking third to last boss. Do you? No, you don't. You go level by level by level by level. And you prepare yourself. You get all the equipment that you need. You get all the skills that you need to face the final boss. Makes no sense why he was going in there against Cowboy Cerrone. Listen, they matched him up against Cowboy Cerrone because Mike Perry knows what he's doing with promoting himself and getting people excited about a fight. It's like, all right, Cowboy, get on your feet with this guy. He's going to promote your fight, do everything you need to do about it. He's going to start the gym drama, this and that. Just go in there and win. And he pulls it out. pulls it out great. And Mike Perry did a great job with not being a sore loser, knowing what was going on in the situation, and moving forward with it all. And also still promoting it after he lost. I mean, this wasn't even a loss in his book. Honestly, people enjoyed watching this fight. Even the way he handled it, it didn't feel like a loss to anyone. At least not me. Not anyone in the Pure Evil MMA army either. I'm excited to see what Mike Perry does next. Mike Perry going up against somebody on his level? This should have been going down way before this. Way before this. I don't understand it. Like UFC Beijing going on this weekend, it just feels like the last couple of weeks we've been in the twilight. So this weekend, the card's starting. I understand like the listeners out in the UK are all like, "Oh no, you guys are catered to your cards." I get it. But it just felt so weird this week, man. It just felt off. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It felt like I was in the twilight zone this weekend. Like I'm ready to wake up out of it. Like, did I really see Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz? Did Chuck Liddell really look like? Oh man, that was bad, guys. That was bad. I'm glad I didn't pay $40. Didn't anyone even see the cringe of the week? All right, cringe of the week going too. I said it on the last stream. Oscar De La Hoya, not knowing who any of your other fighters are on the card. Like, you have all these young up-and-coming talents on the card. Even Tom Galicchio looked better than Chuck Liddell. I will say that, and I will take any backlash you want. I didn't even watch that fight, but I'm sure he did look better than what I saw versus Chuck Liddell, because I didn't pay $40. And that's another thing. The pay-per-view model is dying. SMS Productions tweeted out, like, listen, the reason why WWE stopped doing their pay-per-views is because they don't quite need pay-per-views. They got this and that and the other thing to make all this money. The UFC, on the other hand, doesn't have this, that, and the other thing to make all this money. But here's the thing, guys. Get rid of Reebok. If you got rid of Reebok, these fighters could be making a lot more money to be worth fighting for. You don't necessarily need to have the company pay for pay-per-view. Like the pay-per-view model, okay, it was nice to see Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz make 30% of the pay-per-view. But you know what the guys in the UFC make off pay-per-views? Like, what, 2%? Something very low. I don't know if that's the exact number, but something very low. You get a lot more money off of sponsors. And not only that, you get more fan recognition off of creating your own character and presence when you do your walkout. Between your walkout song, what you're wearing, how you're acting before the fight, how you're promoting your interviews. This means a lot in the theme of entertainment. Because you got to remember, in mixed martial arts, people are still looking at it as entertainment as well as a sport. It's kind of, you're kind of one foot in this world and one foot in the other. That's how it is in 2018. You have one foot in the mixed martial arts scene and combat sport, and the other foot in the entertainment business. And that's what a lot of fighters are seeing. They got rid of the flyweight division. Now, I interviewed Jared Brooks. I've interviewed Jose Shorty Torres. I've even interviewed young up-and-comers in that weight division that is affected. Jose Shorty Torres, he's taken this with a grain of salt. He's been like, you know what, I got to taste the UFC. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. You know, on Thanksgiving dinner when I'm out there and I'm with my family and they're like, oh, what are you doing with your lives? To say something like, I'm a UFC fighter, to be in, you know, I'm in the ONE FC is a big difference. It's a big one-off. I understand that Shorty's trying to keep a positive mindset. And let's face it, ONE FC has done an amazing job promoting. A lot of promotions this year have done a great job of promoting themselves as being a young, not even young, like ONE FC, Bellator. There's been a bunch of guys out there, a bunch of promotions out there that are putting their best foot forward, signing a lot of big names. Eddie Alvarez, Mighty Mouse, the flyweights. ONE FC is doing a good job. Bellator doing a great job. There's other organizations doing a great job. But let's be real. Let's keep it 100 here. At the end of the day, you're sitting there in front of your family, and they go, what are you doing with your life? Who are you working for? It makes a difference if you say, I'm working for Microsoft, compared to working for fucking, you know, some Japanese product that we've never heard of before ever. That maybe have like one good like program they're running with. You know what I mean? Like, how could we compare this? We can compare this to like beers, I guess. Like, I don't even know. Listen, if you're fighting for the UFC, you're here on the level of society. As far as we want UFC to be in the homes of all these mainstream people, being like my mom knowing who Conor McGregor is, my dad's best friends knowing who Chuck Liddell was in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, going to late 2000s. It's a big difference. They're saying, oh, well, I'm fighting the ONE FC, but I went to the UFC and it wasn't what I thought. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, here's a good example. It's like working for UPS compared to working with like DHL. You know what I mean? Like, there's a big difference there. DHL had a good Super Bowl commercial, but it doesn't mean they're UPS. There's a big difference there. However, I do hope the pay-per-view model dies. Let us know what you guys think about this. Like, I understand the promotions have taken a step forward, but this year has kind of been like up and down, up and down. And now, after this weekend, it really feels like our childhood's dying. Like, this weekend's fights should happen in Neverland. Because this upcoming fight, I wish was going down in Neverland, between Anderson Silva, and if you guys haven't heard it, Anderson Silva versus Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya versus Anderson Silva. Did you hear that? Israel Adesanya. These aren't just rumors. It's booked. It's booked. And a piece of me has died. A piece of my childhood has died this week. Because it's come to realization. There's a new era afoot. There is a new era afoot. Between watching Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz going there and just... And in the last couple of weeks, seeing Yair Rodriguez go in there and do... And then seeing Israel Adesanya go in there and go... To see TJ Dillashaw and Cody No Love. To see Cody No Love and Dominic Cruz go... It's a new era. That's it. That's the end of it. It's a new era. And that's what we get moving forward here on Pure Evil MMA. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I love it. There's a lot of, like, it makes you almost wonder, like, who is next? You look at the UFC, who do you have right now? I'm trying to think, like, who do you have? You have Conor McGregor. You have John Jones, who's going in there against Alexander Gustafsson. Which, like, anyone out there, listen, we all know how amazing Alexander is. John Jones, he reaches such a bigger audience. Not just because of his negative things, but because of what he's accomplished in his career and the negative things, which has kind of helped him kind of promote the entertainment business without getting too much of a slap on the wrist. And that, oh, man, this kind of transitions into what I wanted to bring up earlier on in the show. So if you guys have been listening to me here on Pure Evil MMA, you might know that I did a show with Ted Sheck. Ted Sheck is one of the pioneers here on YouTube. One of the pioneers in MMA media. Giving his 100% pure reaction to breaking news in the MMA scene. Before I ever did a show with him, I watched him for a couple of years, man. I watched Ted Sheck for a couple of years before I even reached out to him to do a show. And when he said he would do a show with me, I was blown away. At that moment, I honestly thought like I made a step forward in my career. Well, this week, guys, there's been more upsetting news, which kind of makes me feel like I'm still in the Twilight Zone. Like, am I living in a different dimension? I was on Brian Gerson's new podcast for MMA Sucka, and we were talking about Mandela effects. And let me say this. After that podcast, during that podcast, I feel like I transitioned into a different 3% of reality. Like, I transitioned to a different level of my own reality. Where I don't even know, is Trump president? Is Coca-Cola still doing sugar in their soda? Like, is it the Bernstein or Bernstein Bears? Did Star Wars ever say, Luke, I am your father? Is that the reality I'm in? Or am I in the reality that said, you're going to need a bigger boat? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you know what I mean, because you might be in a different reality. Now that I think about it, this weekend has been really weird. Did I really see Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz this weekend? Did I really see Anderson Silva is booked against Israel Adesanya? Did I really see Mighty Mouse signed to ONE FC? Did I really see Khabib beat Conor? Oh no, that actually makes sense. Oh no, that actually makes sense. But for real, guys, like, come on. It's been kind of a wacky year. I'm looking forward to the end of the year preview, the end of the year award shows, best knockout of the year, best performance of the year, best podcast of the year, 2017's own Pureville MMA. Honestly, though, guys, if we sit back and think about what does this year mean in mixed martial arts? Have we taken a step forward anywhere? I don't think we have. I think it's more have been a catching up party this year, where UFC's kind of stayed the same. We've kind of seen things level out. We've kind of seen new fighters come into play, and we've seen other promotions come up here and kind of level out with the UFC. At least them make other steps forward. We've seen more organizations take a step forward over the UFC. That's what we've seen this year. And I ain't complaining. We've all been waiting for a year like this. Even outside of mixed martial arts, whether it's Muay Thai and line fights, finally taking a step forward. Antonina Shevchenko fighting this weekend. You know what that means? Muay Thai takes a step forward. Joanna Jędrzejczyk for Valentina Shevchenko? Muay Thai takes a step forward. Well, more so for Antonina Shevchenko and Lion Fight organization, where Lion Fight was signed to CBS, a grandfather station. Now, which means when Lion Fight come back here on the East Coast, I can easily tell my entire family, tune into CBS Channel 3. You can watch it. Listen, I think it's a great idea because a lot of the older people that enjoyed boxing growing up, that don't understand what's going on the ground, like they watch a UFC fight, like, what the fuck are they doing on the ground? I want to see these two swing for the fences. Muay Thai makes a lot more sense. Listen, I brought my grandfather to a Lion Fight event. I bought my mom and my grandfather a ticket to go see Lion Fight one night when I was covering. My grandfather had hip surgery 3 weeks before this. He was on his feet the entire time. The entire time. I think other organizations have taken a step forward this year. In MMA, in Muay Thai, and whatever you want. Even EBI in the last couple of years have made a step forward. Submission Underground, huge in 2017. I wish they made more of a statement in 2018. But going into 2019, into 2020, we are finally going to slip into that transition. We're finally going to see new fighters evolve. Israel Adesanya being one of them. Yair Rodriguez, let's hope he's one of them. And let's also hope there's more podcasts on the up and coming. I've also been grinding. MMA hosts have been grinding. I was going to say this a minute ago when I was transitioning. There was some upsetting news about Ted Check this week. And I can totally relate to where Ted Check was coming from on this. It's hard to listen. Every week I try to stay motivated. I try to be super excited about any news. I give you guys my pure reaction. This isn't a sport for me. This is a straight up lifestyle. This is why I got evil. This is why I got my name, part of the show, tattooed on my fist. I'm going to be getting pure tattooed here. So when I check out, it's going to say pure evil. For a lot of guys out there that have been doing this longer than me, it's so sad to see them, in their own words, be disenchanted by some of the things that have been happening in mixed martial arts this year. Like, okay, so Ted Check broke news this week. He's no longer going to be continuing his mixed martial arts journey in media, which upsets me, man, because we've had some amazing times on Evil and Intoxicated. Amazing times. So many laughs, and that's what life's all about. At the end of the day, life's about laughing, enjoying yourself, getting a good chuckle. There's nothing better than that. And on Ted's video, he admits, he's like, why did I bring Chuck into it? He just kind of says, like, you know, mixed martial arts this day and age is kind of taking the change, or it's more towards the entertainment side of things, where it's like, between John Bones just getting a slap on the wrist, Conor McGregor getting a match up against Khabib Nurmagomedov, Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz 3 being booked, like all these things, one after the other. Pay-per-views continuing. 13 pay-per-views this year. 13 pay-per-views this year. Which means we have to spend $60 on top of whatever other expenses we have between Netflix, Hulu, our internet bill, our cable bill, our lights, everything. Who can fucking afford this? I'm not saying that's new, but now they're switching over to ESPN and ESPN Plus. You have to pay for that? It's too much, man. It's too much. Ted Check has announced that he is leaving the mixed martial arts media scene. Which means there's no more Evil and Intoxicated. Which there hasn't been an episode of Evil and Intoxicated for a minute, but a piece of me dies with that. Because there was a hope in me that, you know, Ted was going to come back. Sometimes people do this. They take a couple of months off. They need a resurgence. Because even Ted in his video said, like, I get so caught up in what he's saying, she's saying, he's saying, they're saying, she said, but he said, but they're saying, but then they said, drama. And it's annoying. And if you take a look at, like, I'm kind of thankful that I'm single right now, because when I wasn't single, there was so much more to be distracted about, which finally I'm able to enjoy the entertainment, the ups and the downs of mixed martial arts. But when I was with somebody, or with a few girls, because there haven't been a few girls that I've been with in the past year and a half, that, you know, like, I get so involved in them that a piece of me gets taken away, and then all this news comes. I can see how you get a little disenchanted, but this is what makes me feel alive. Me sharing this news, then going on to Podbean and seeing the stats, seeing over 2,000 downloads this month. That shit gets me pumped up. I live for this. You gotta take the highs with the lows. I'm here to report. I'm never gonna leave, guys. I promise you this. I've been doing this since I was 7 years old. I shared in the chat room today for Pure Evil MMA. Fun fact about me. I went to go see Happy Gilmore with Glenn Beck. When I was a little kid, my uncle Vinny Pan, not my uncle, but my dad's best friend, Vinny Pan, who works for iHeartRadio, He used to work for KC101 alongside his co-host Glenn Beck, who you guys saw on Fox News, who now does his own thing. Made a huge name for himself. Fun fact, like, I've always been in the radio scene, entertainment scene. There's been a bunch of times where I was on the radio. My first interview, 7 years old, Stone Cold Steve Austin. My regulars know this. 7 years old. And I really wish there was a video, or I wish I can get the recording of me doing my very first interview with Stone Cold. And it was one of the biggest nights of his career. It was the night it all started with him and Vince McMahon, where they're going to have this pay-per-view and all this drama kicked off. I've always felt like this is my destiny. And one of my favorite things about doing this podcast is seeing guys make the come up. Ian Heinisch was on last week. He made an amazing debut. Mikey Kimball, amazing prospect over at Bellator, making it on the Ariel Helwani's show. Shorty Torres, his entire ride up to the UFC, finally getting there. And in the flyweight division, he dominates. Those are the stories I love and I live for. It's sad to see somebody like Ted Shag take a step back and not continue this. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that get caught up in other parts of the scene. Like, they get frustrated about seeing, Henley, what are you doing up there? Henley, come here. What are you doing? Come here. Hey. Come here. Alright, I don't know. Hopefully my shit don't go crazy. Alright, let me just end this, because this has just been a crazy podcast. A very emotional podcast. I feel like I'm in a different fucking reality right now. I really do. It's been a weird weekend. Anyone else feel like this? Give me a thumbs up if you feel like this, because I don't even know where to put my finger on this week. Like, I've been sick this week. I've had some sort of food virus or something. Headaches, stomach aches. Did I change realities? I don't know what the fuck's going on. I might be schizophrenic. I don't know, guys. Subscribe down below. I'm Evil from Pure Evil MMA, MyMMAnews.com. Follow me on Instagram at Pure Evil MMA _. And then also on Twitter, Evil_Echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. When Knuckles till the end, behave yourself.